The road is a utility that is to be shared amongst all of us. All of us are sharing road. It is not a space for anybody to be dragging. It is not competition. We are not rally race drivers. And you begin to force your way to create a third lane. Who are you? Who are you? Who do you think you are? What are you doing? If you're one of such people, I pray that you get to experience in real time, in your lifetime, the cost of messing up simple road driving for everybody. I pray that you get to experience it. A serious pet peeve. It's a serious pet peeve because I believe this action is a reflection of the level of selfishness that pervades a lot of today's society and the way that we behave. When I see it, I see red. Honestly, if I was a violent person, I would resort to violence immediately. When I see things like that, I wish that I still used to drive in areas where they sell koboko on the side of the road. You know, sometimes when you're in traffic, you see they'll be selling cattle cane. Because that's what those canes are for. The canes they used to buy for us when we were in primary school to flog people. I'm looking for whips and canes. If you know somebody that's selling whips and cane, send me their link on Instagram at @FolloWStorms. I need to buy whip and cane to keep in my car so that I can whip and cane people who decide to drive like they don't have any sense, who decide to drive like other people's lives mean nothing, that their own is the only life that is a priority. It is wickedness of the highest order. Hi guys, welcome back to the StormCast. My name is StormStorms. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time on the StormCast, please feel free to go check out other episodes. Basically what I do here is I sit and I share thoughts, I share musings, I share conversations that I have with different people. And hopefully through those conversations, through the musings, through the thought process that we sort of work through together a little bit, that we're better able to navigate life and navigate just to navigate life, to be honest with you. And sometimes it's also just events. I'm not going to hold you. Sometimes I just need to sort of share pet peeves and thoughts around how we can be better people, how we can be better passengers in this boat, in this ship of life together. And today, what I kind of wanted to discuss a bit, because it keeps popping up over and over again, is something that's a little bit of a pet peeve, but got me thinking about wider issues in our society and in life. This pet peeve has to do with driving on the roads of Lagos. If you have followed me at any point in my media journey, and again, for those who don't know, I've done different things in media, on TV, on radio. I tend to talk about driving a lot because I drive a lot. It is kind of something that I enjoy doing in certain ways, but in cities like Lagos, it presents a number of challenges, and a number of those challenges are very road user induced and can be avoided. So my principal pet peeve on the roads of Lagos, the things that bother me, is we lack lane fidelity. We do not know how to stay in a lane and drive in our lane. It sounds funny, but it causes real problems. It causes accidents. It causes fatalities. When I brought this up to a friend of mine and I said, the thing in Lagos or Nigeria, people we lack lane fidelity. They said, if people, they don't have fidelity for human being, is it for the road they're going to have fidelity? I lost it, I cracked up, because that's a whole other discussion for another day, is how much fidelity we have for one another in general. And not just in relationships, but how much value do we place on each other? Because the road is a utility that is to be shared amongst all of us. All of us are sharing road. It is not a space for anybody to be dragging. It is not competition. We are not rally race drivers. We are not speed racers on the road. That is not the intention, because nobody is paying us to rally race on the streets of Lagos, unless there's something I'm unaware of. If you people are inside competition that they told you about, please come and tell me, because it grinds my gears. It does my head in. The way that people drive on roads. And when I say lane fidelity, on some of our roads, we have lane markings. To be fair, on a number of our roads, even though I do recognize that Lagos State, which is the state in Nigeria that I live, has done a pretty decent job of trying to get a lot of roads up to scratch. We still have a lot of roads that have no lane markings. So people do not know or do not care whether it is a 2-lane road or a 3-lane road. Even when that road is clearly marked out. I personally have experienced, and I know that you have too if you drive in Lagos, I know you have, or you have witnessed it before. I personally have experienced where we are all in our 2 lanes on this 2-lane road, no problem. We are moving forward gingerly and respectfully and quietly. We are moving. Yes, there is traffic. It's not a completely free road, but it's moving. There's somebody from the back that will on siren. Not ambulance. And you begin to force your way to create a 3rd lane. Who are you? Who are you? Who do you think you are? What are you doing? If you're one of such people, I pray that you get to experience in real time, in your lifetime, the cost of messing up simple road driving for everybody. I pray that you get to experience it. It sounds like a funny thing, like, it's not just shift. I've had people cuss me out because I will refuse to move. If I see it happening, I will block the road. There are a number of times I've been on the road, you'll be driving, you are there in your lane, just respectfully. Yes, again, there's small traffic. And because there's also the curb, there's the pedestrian sidewalk. Because we have not raised it to our chins, you hear somebody from the back begin to horn for you that you should move so they can drive with one tire on the actual road and the other tire where pedestrians are walking. How many complete pedestrian sidewalks do we have in Lagos that you now want to run over the few pedestrians that are managing the sidewalk that is there? This is a serious pet peeve. It's a serious pet peeve because I believe this action is a reflection of the level of selfishness that pervades a lot of today's society and the way that we behave. When I see it, I see red. Honestly, if I was a violent person, I would resort to violence immediately. When I see things like that, I wish that I still used to drive in areas where they sell koboko on the side of the road. You know, sometimes when you're in traffic, you see they'll be selling cattle cane. Because that's what those canes are for. The canes they used to buy for us when we were in primary school to flog people. I'm looking for whips and canes. If you know somebody that's selling whips and cane, send me their link on Instagram at Follow Storms. I need to buy whip and cane to keep in my car so that I can whip and cane people who decide to drive like they don't have any sense, who decide to drive like other people's lives mean nothing, that their own is the only life that is a priority. It is wickedness of the highest order. Because you see, what is kind of amusing or irritating when it is slow speeds, when we start increasing our speeds and people don't know how to maintain their lanes, they don't know how to stick to their lane, they don't know how to check before you switch lanes, or not even that they don't know how to, they don't care to check. Nobody indicates. You will just drift from the left to the right of the road. Just be drifting. That drifting behavior that seems to make sense when you are driving at low speeds. And when you start getting faster, you are confident. And a machine at the drive, vroom, anything vroom, anything vroom, anything vroom. You will vroom, vroom, vroom your way and vroom into a parked stationary vehicle. We have lost too many people in road accidents that are a direct result of human error. It is from small things that we see big endings. Now from clap, dance they start. I really hope that as this year is progressing, you know, we're moving into the second quarter of 2026. I really want us to consider the impact, the cumulative effect of small actions in our lives, of what doing something small, how that adds up over time. You see, percentages wise, road accidents account for much higher loss of life than any other kind of vehicle, like, airplane or by ocean. But like roads claim lives, and not just of the drivers, of pedestrians as well. I was talking to someone the other day and they were just gisting me about how that one of their family members, or that this family member actually has a bad history with cars, and that this family member has been involved in 2 car accidents where they were driving and where lives were lost. One person, it was a group that was crossing the road. It was a group of children crossing the road. And I think one kid was lingering behind or whatever, and this driver was coming down high speed down the road and didn't even see the person when he hit the person. And one went flying, suffered incredible body damage. They were in an area that was quite a local area, so you understand that the mob gathered. They almost lynched this individual. That was the first time it happened. The second time, the second scenario, this moving at speed. Again, this person likes to move at speed. They drive good cars. So, they drive machine. Just my car can move. We can respond. It's very responsive. But we keep forgetting that it is human beings that are driving these cars. And one small mistake will cost people their lives. And this person, again, blindside, was switching lanes. And there was a stationary parked vehicle. And this vehicle was a taxi, and slammed directly into that taxi and killed everybody in the taxi. Everybody died. What do you want to say to the families of people who lose their lives that way? You, as the person that has caused that kind of accident, how do you sleep peacefully? To me, because I asked, I was like, is this person okay? Is this person still driving? Is the person still driving? If the person is okay, I said they cannot be okay. They cannot be okay. You cannot be okay. There is the burden of knowing that you are responsible in some way, and to be honest, in a very major way, for people that are no longer on this earth, that they didn't plan it. What kind of pain were they in? How long did they suffer for before they died? Because not everybody died on impact. You will first be rushed to hospital. You will first be dealing with the consequences of the injuries before you pass away. That is terrifying to think of. That is horrible to think of. Is that the kind of stain you want on your soul? And I talk about this because we also knew that earlier this year, there was a horrific road accident that involved a very famous athlete, and where 2 of his friends were lost. And it, sensationalized. And I know it was sensationalized a lot internationally. And it is just out of respect, again, for the families, that I don't want to talk about that directly, but it is an example of what we see all the time. This is not the first time that kind of thing will happen on the roads in Nigeria. I personally have lost 2 uncles to that same strip of road. And once more, it is driver behavior, whether it is the person who was parked or the person who is driving. Because also, why are you parked and stationary on an expressway? There are so many things that we normalize in this country that should not be normalized. There are so many things that we need to call out, that should be called out, that we should talk about. But I also find that because we exist in a country where we have so many challenges, I think people are just overwhelmed. So when we see certain things that don't make sense, we'll just look the other way. Another pet peeve, if I talk about it, men peeing on the side of the road. For God's sake, sir, why can't I see your private parts? Why are you peeing facing me boldly, looking into my eyes, displaying your member up and down the places? Do we see women in public peeing? It's not that women are not, because also this is an issue about lack of public toilets, which I've spoken on other podcasts about it. I'm not going to rant and rave about it now, but it's crazy to me. Those things are not normal. Those things are not okay. We need to call some of these things out. And I really wish that, and I really hope for ourselves this year, as the year is progressing, that we start falling into that habit of trying to be excellent in small things, of trying to build properly on foundations that are already laid. Months ago, at the beginning of the year, I put down a post about New Year, just saying Happy New Year. And I was just kind of curious about whether people have New Year's resolutions. Do you do resolutions? Do you just say, oh no, it doesn't really matter about resolutions, there's no goals or whatever, just, vibe and live life? Or are you someone that you build on foundations? And the truth is, I've become someone who I'm like, let me just be building on what is there. Let me try and stack these little habits. Let me try and stack these little patterns. Let me try and stack things that I know are good, because building blocks, atoms, the smallest building blocks of the universe, not so, is it quarks now? I can't remember. But that's what we're looking at. We have to go down to these small micro levels. As a society in Nigeria, we've reached a point where, even though internationally there are so many of us, and even though I think a lot of Nigerians are great people, a lot of us are phenomenal people, nobody can ride for Nigerians like Nigerians do. And wherever we find ourselves in the world, guys, we excel. Wherever we find ourselves in the world, like, you want to be amongst us. We are officially the cool kids of the human race. I honestly believe that. Like, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be somehow, or like, we're cool. We're cool kids, But it is that same thing within Nigeria, where there are so many more of us. I don't know. I'm not even sure what to even say the actual roots issue is. It becomes almost like a crabs in the bucket mentality, where, because there are so many other problems with the institution of Nigeria, because there's so many other problems with the infrastructure in Nigeria, so people devolve. And I do mean devolve, actually. I think that some people just start devolving into, any which way, if you job me, we just, why are you disturbing yourself? Now it's a case where we mock one another if you are not trying to find a shortcut, if you're not trying to move around the fundamentals, if you're not trying to cut around what you think is noise. But that's not the noise. Those are the building blocks. So we have very shaky foundations for a lot of things. I had a guest on the StormCast earlier, Gwemi, that talked about how even in show business, there's a lot of show and not a lot of business. And I see that, in Nigeria, across the board, across a number of industries, there is a lot of high level conversation. There's a lot of bigger picture narratives and thinking. But when it comes down to the building blocks of discipline, of putting in time, of putting in effort, of dotting our I's and crossing our T's, of not peeing on the road, of lane fidelity, of signaling before we switch lanes, of all these little things, it becomes a big problem. People want to skip that phase, so they don't understand. Therefore, when they get to the end, why people are mad. It's scary to me. That's not how life should be. Other pet peeves I have around the road, again, and it is about building blocks. It's about understanding what can be detrimental for other people, is when we park. Have you noticed that parking has a lot of institutions or businesses or whatever it is, or shops, they will tell you have to park facing forward. If you try to reverse park, it used to cause fights. So why am I going to a shop, or I'm going to an eatery and I'm trying to reverse park and you're trying to stop me from reverse parking? Or I'm going to a hotel, like, or a small one, like little boutique hotels. Because sometimes when you have shoots as an actor, they check you into a small place. You're like, no problem, let me just park. I'll reverse park so I can drive out easily. They're like, no, that's against our policy. I don't understand, sir. What are you saying? What policy is that? Call me your manager. I don't think you understand the number of conversations I've had with managers of establishments about their parking policy. And they look at me as though, this woman, you are doing too much. I've had someone say, Fulu, you are doing too much. Do you know what it is? Do you know why it's dangerous to park facing forward at an institution where the road is right behind you? It's not as though they have this large car park, because for most of us, it's road, small space to park, eatery, road, small space to park, shop, whatever it is, and you're insisting that I park facing forward. This thing started from Nigerian banks, and I can understand the banking institutions for needing to do this, and I can give them that. Nigerian banks said, park facing forward, because there was a time period where a lot of them were experiencing a spate of robberies, and when you reverse park, it's easier for the robber to drive away. It's like having a getaway car, waiting, get on the road, you move, you understand, you disappear, you give them ghosting. Am I ghosting from your supermarket? No. You tell me. I don't understand. Are you hoarding jewels in the supermarket? That makes no sense. According to road driving rules, it is illegal. It is illegal. It is illegal to revise onto a road. Did you know that? You are not supposed to reverse onto the road because it's dangerous. You can't see properly. That's how you get hit. That's how you get run over, especially a busy major road. If it's even like a private small cul-de-sac, that's a different conversation. But you are not to reverse onto a busy street. And a number of our eateries and our shoppings and whatever it is we're doing, our shopping malls, they are on very busy streets. And you are insisting that people reverse onto the road? No. Go and call me your manager. I'm not going to have a conversation with you. Go and call the manager. Explain to me why you are insisting I park facing forward and how that is helpful to me or to anybody else. I know that a number of people don't like to reverse park because they find it challenging. I don't find it challenging. I'm going to do that. And because I'm not someone who typically has a driver a lot of the time, I drive myself. I move myself around. My dear, we're going to reverse park in that space if I see the opportunity to, because it is safer for me to then face the road and know what is coming and what is not oncoming. It is important. You see, because complaining, as much as I know it makes people weary to do it and you get tired after a while, you're like, let me just stop. All this talking, all this I'm complaining, I'm doing, to what end? Complaining is a sign that you believe that things can still be better. Complaining is a sign that you still have hope for a better situation, for something else to come forward. And I believe that we should always have hope. I believe that in Nigeria, we must always have hope. We have to keep hope alive because apathy is the death of a nation. If everybody is apathetic, if everyone is saying, and we hear that sound a lot. We see that action a lot where people are just exhausted. You just don't want to try anymore. You cannot can anymore. You just want to give up. Have you not noticed that in Nigeria, that's the difference between when IJGB and Nigerian, that's how you can spot them. Forget how people are dressing. If you call a Nigerian and you say, excuse me, the look you're going to get is, nobody will say anything. They'll not be looking at you. Where I speak. Let me, what do you want? What's it? Whereas, if you call someone who happens to be visiting IJGB, excuse me. Yes? You observe the difference? Wide-eyed, open, just like, how can I, what do you need? Yes? The eyes of hope. May we forever have eyes of hope in this Nigeria. May we not allow pet peeves, frustrations, daily inconveniences, oversights, and other people's negligence, lack of care or disrespect for one another. May we not allow that to become our portion and our story. May we not. Because as short as life is also so long. There are so many opportunities. As long as you have life in you, there are opportunities for things to be better. There are opportunities for you to do more. There are opportunities for you to change your story. And if you cannot understand that in the small things, if you cannot find the beauty in the minute, if you cannot find the joy in the minutiae of life and small details, how are you ever going to have joy? You're always waiting for big things to happen to be joyful. It's a shame. They're always waiting for something major to happen. The miracles occur in the tiny, in the ordinary. Every day there are ordinary miracles. That Nigeria is still existing, is it not miracle? Is it not God? Have some faith, have some hope. Keep having those pet peeves and keep complaining. I think it's important because, okay, let me give you another example of something small that really bothers me. It has always bothered me for a long time. Until today, I'm watching it happen in real time and I don't know where this is going, is the number of children we have on the streets in Nigeria, the number of beggars we have on the streets, and all of them are young. In fact, they're not so young anymore because we've been watching them grow. We've been watching them grow on the streets of Lagos. Are you not terrified? The solution is not just to carry people into Black Maria and pack them away. A number of these children have ended up on the road for so many different reasons. Some of them are runaways from different states. Some of them were promised work or promised, oh, you'll stay with a relative in Lagos. And that relative in Lagos turned out to be a pimp that tried to sell them off to do XYZ. So they ran away from home. Some of them have been kidnapped and have escaped kidnappers. There are so many stories of so many children on the streets of Lagos, and we see them every day. But for most of us, they are just the narrative is, all these beggar children just disturbing me. They're pouring dirty water on my car. The reason this, what seems like a small thing to you, is really bothering me, and I don't know if it seems like a small thing to you, is because the young shall grow. People are out here saying, have children, have children. Those of you who have internet, you are watching me. Oh, by God's grace, I will have my child. I will have a home. I will give birth to my children. No problem. Let's say you have even done that. You're raising children with all these privileges. By God's grace, you are able to do that. That's fantastic. Are you aware that you are raising children side by side by children who are growing up like wolves? When the wolves don't have enough to eat, what's going to happen? Who are they going to turn to? Who are they going to eat? We cannot jail children, and we should not be jailing children on the street or just packing them off like they're rubbish to be discarded. How did we end up here? From small things. From small things. When we talk about, let's say, oh, there's family planning, let's talk about family planning. Let's talk about women taking control of their bodies and deciding when they can have kids and when they cannot. They will say it's not Nigerian. It's not how we are. It's against our belief. It's against our tradition. Are you the person pushing out the children? And the reason I bring this up is because we have young children having children. You have girls who have barely crossed puberty, who have just started bleeding. It's their first bleed, their second bleed. You are forcing them into marriages. You are forcing them into sex. Some of these young girls are being raped, and then they have children that they cannot take care of. They didn't want. They don't have the wherewithal. Okay, let's even assume you have married them. Let's assume that they've said, okay, no problem. I've started my bleed at 13. I've started my bleed at 15. I'm now a wife. I've married. I have children. Okay, let me plan the number of children I have. What do you mean? It's however many that God is going. Okay, very good, very great. How much money do you have, sir? You that you are insisting that your child is just born. That after all, other people not managing. Are they? Because let's even assume, right, that you feel that you are able to provide these children with the basics that they need, a roof over their head, some food to eat. But you have 7 of them. You have 9 of them. You have 10 of them. If you're constantly now hustling to put food on the table to feed essentially football team, right? If you count yourself and your wife as well. Who is raising the children? Oh, is it the 15-year-old Yahoo that has not finished raising herself? That nobody really raised? She's supposed to know how to raise how many boys, how many girls? God help you that, okay, this is a woman, she's giving me boys. We have boys. My whole family is boys. Do you know what happens when there's no love at home? Or when there's no food at home? You can't find it outside. Then tomorrow we'll say we have gangs everywhere. Tomorrow we say we have all these miscreants. These Gen Z don't know anything. Who is born in Gen Z and Gen Alpha? It's from small things, small ideas. I guess this isn't even necessarily an episode so much about pet peeves, even though these are small pet peeves of mine. But it's an invitation to deeper thinking and deeper inquiry about how we are choosing habits, how we are making decisions, and how those small decisions have massive ripple effects. It's a call to inquire and hopefully maybe a call to action to see how we can step in to be our brother's keeper in certain ways. I know that we're a nation that is very good at performative charity, dare I say. I'm waiting for people to fight me eventually, but that's okay. That's okay. I just will not fight you back. I don't have energy for fighting. Somebody once advised me that blocking is free, so I can always block. But we're very good at saying sorry. Something bad happened to you. Oh my sure. It should never have happened. But if it's time for us to do something to prevent that harm or that terrible thing from happening, are we going to do it? Are you going to do it? That's the question I have. And I dare throw this out to anyone who's watching from anywhere in the world, because as much as I talk about Nigeria, because that is a space which I occupy, I also exist in London, I exist globally, and I see that a lot of these problems are maybe they're slightly different problems, but a lot of this idea of being patient enough with building blocks, of being patient enough with the ordinary, of being patient enough with small things, and allowing that to build into something that is authentic, that is genuine, that will grow over time, and that will benefit the wider society. I feel like it's being lost. I feel like it's being eroded. And I feel like people who think that way are being clowned and are being made to feel like it's very old school. Like, you're the dummy. You don't know how it works. You don't know. And I'm like, guess what? Every ego touch everybody last. The young shall grow. Mr. and Mrs. Oh, we don't need to do that anymore. Now with the internet, now we can do everything fast. We can do. Now I deserve this. Actually, this thing you're saying I should do is stressing my mental health. Okay, let's see how your mental health is going to be in 20 years. Let's see. If you like, don't do the work now. If you like, don't put in the building block now, because you say it's affecting your mental health. Because you are saying you don't. Is it? We're gonna see. It's a real thing. So I mean, again, this is not really a long episode. Again, it's really just a moment of reflection. I'm taking a pause as we are kind of going through the year, and we're going through it at pace, to really just take a look at what our lives are truly made of what those patterns are, what those habits are, how we are stacking, how we're leaning into improving our community. None of these things, sometimes we look at it in isolation and we say it's just one person, it's just one situation, it's just one thing, it's just over here. That actually everyone is managing, we'll move forward, but we're not really managing. We're not really moving forward. We're all affecting ourselves. Even the way that people drive, you'll have one person that says, okay, I'll stick with my lane, I'll do this. But when everyone starts swimming across the road, you two start swimming. We have to band together. We really have to dig deep to make it as a society. I really want to see this country, and I really want to see humans take this year as a turning point for humanity, as a way to say, come, let's slow down what we're doing. Let's really reflect. Let's really put in the work to build slowly and steady. And I know it seems idealistic. I know that there are people who are like, man, this is a nice idea, but a lot of people are not going to do it. Okay, forget a lot of people. What about you? Can you commit to that for the rest of this year? Can you commit to sometimes being a Karen for the greater good? Can you commit to seeing something small that's going wrong and speaking up? Can you commit to speaking up if there is some injustice being committed? I want to ask you to commit to that. If you think you can commit to that, if you think you can commit to being your brother's keeper, if you think you can commit to putting a little bit of extra time to educate someone, to educate yourself, to enrich someone with knowledge, to give someone an actual helping hand, and not just post it on social media. In fact, we don't even want to know about it on social media. Just commit to doing that within your community. If there's some way that you can commit to honestly just civic responsibility and civic duty, like, do that. I'm trying to find ways to commit to that in small ways. Like, just get up and, if your only job for the rest of 2026 is see something, say something. See it, say it, sort it. You get me? See it, say it, sort it. I'm going to give you another example. Before I wrap up this episode, I actually think this example is hilarious. This girl on TikTok was talking about how, like proper British girl, you get me? And she was like, I was just like on the train and heading somewhere, and she watches this girl from across the aisle, like sitting across in the tube, right? And this girl's out there, she's doing her full makeup, and she's like, I'm not about to judge you. Maybe you didn't manage your time properly, and you get on the train and you're here doing your foundation, doing whatever. And then she takes out her setting spray and proceeds to the setting spray all over her face. And naturally now, like, some of that setting spray gets on the man sitting beside her, and the man flinches and rolls his eyes or whatever, and maybe makes a comment or tries to shift away. And the girl is like, ugh, all these racists. Now, good sis who's narrating the story to me on TikTok, because I'm very invested in some of these TikTok stories. She's like, racist? Nah, man, you just dash your setting spray on the man sitting beside you. He's not racist. He's being inconvenienced right now. But let me not even say anything, because you brought your bad manners outside. You were the person that were not able to manage your time, and you've brought it, and now you have stained somebody's wear to your setting spray. But the man didn't even talk. He just kind of like shifted around. The train came to a stop. He got off the train, didn't leave the train though, just got into another carriage because obviously he couldn't deal with that sister's nonsense anymore. Do you know what this good sis does next? After she does that one setting spray, I think she now does another general misty, mist everywhere problem. Then sis is not finished doing her makeup. She now reaches into her bag, because she's fully getting dressed and ready on the tube, reaches into her bag and brings out deodorant, aerosol, to start doing on the tube. And that's when this my good sister narrating the story to me on TikTok, that's when she rose up. She goes, nah, you're not going to do that here. What are you doing? And this girl's like, what? What's the problem? She goes, forget this, that you clearly did not clean yourself. Your mother already failed you. I almost died. She says, forget that your mother already failed you. That you are out here getting dressed in public. Why is this our concern? Why is this my business? Like, you can't be out here spraying nasty deodorant on top. So it means you are not sprayed these deodorants before you started painting your face. Your hygiene is lacking, my dear. You have not even sprayed deodorants. You are painting face, spraying mist. You say somebody's racist. Now you're coming out here with deodorant to choke who? That's not, why am I involved in your business? Auntie said, put that deodorant back in your bag. You're not about to do that here. We're not having it on here. And the reason I told that story, because again, it's a clear example of somebody who was unafraid to stand up and speak for everybody, because everybody on that tube was getting uncomfortable. Do you know how many people have asthma? Are you dumb? Why are you spraying outside? You did not even ask permission. Wait, sorry, I'm so sorry. Like, look around. You do not have the common courtesy to look embarrassed. You get on public transport. Public. It's not your private house. It's not your friend's car. Go and sit in your friend's car and do all that one. That's fine. That's between two of you. If the friend wants to tolerate it, that's okay. You came into the public space. Who told you I want to smell your stinking deodorant? You're already messy. You came outside. You didn't clean yourself properly in your house. You didn't get dressed properly in your house. You're outside now painting face and spraying deodorant on top of stench. Do we know if you bath? And why should I even know? Why should I be having this discourse? Now look at me. Somebody in Nigeria having this discussion over your matter. You may not know me, but it's you I'm talking about, whoever you are. If you ever come across this. But again, shout out to the Good Samaritan sis who stood up, called it out, stopped other people from being inconvenienced. Because at the end of the day, like, we are brothers and sisters keeper. Please help us. Edakun. Help us. Small things, small habits. If this girl had good personal habits in the first place and good small habits, would you have been running so late that you would have to be doing a full face beat on the tube? Do you know what it means to be doing full face beats on the tube? And then you're having an attitude about it. Should not be embarrassed. Cover your face, my dear. What are you doing? What are you doing? On that note, that's the end of my little rant about pet peeves. I hope that you learn to be your brother's keeper, your sister's keeper this year, because we need it. Nobody exists in a vacuum. We don't exist alone. We need to learn that we rely on each other. We need each other. But as we rely on each other and as we need each other, we need to build the blocks for each other as well, and remind each other, like, yo, you missed that, you should do this. Maybe do this with a bit more kindness, maybe do it with a bit more empathy. But sometimes, because people don't used to hear word, maybe you can also do it with koboko. Again, you guys, if you know who's selling koboko and whip outside, holla at your girl. On that note, thank you for watching this episode of the StormCast. Don't forget to check out the other episodes of the StormCast. And this episode of the StormCast has been recorded at the Creative Economy Practice Hub by CC Hub. Thank you so much for having me. Big shout out to Rixel Productions. Big shout out to Acacio Production Designs. And I will see all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.